Welcome back to another chapter of story time in Ophelia Immune. I'm now realizing that I could hide my audio and be watching my video at the same time. Here's something we should all accept about writers and artists of various genres. We do not know what we're doing on every topic. Sometimes we know what we're doing, but we can't focus on all of the things all of the time. For example, I'm definitely not wearing anything more than hippie deodorant that doesn't work very well. But you know what I can still do? I can still give myself and you story time. Maybe if I hold the book down like this, it'll be okay. I'm not going to remember to do that. Enjoy. The next chapter is about kite. It's called The Kite, and let's learn some more about kite. What about this? Is this a good compromise? Okay. Kite the killer made me coffee. She doesn't make me coffee out of my stale red tin. She makes me coffee that smells like heaven on earth, from freshly roasted beans that drifted into my open closet door, pinches my nose, and it wakes me up from the sleep of the dead. The morning air is fresh on my face, humid and sweet. The living room window is wide open, the curtains flapping free of their nails. Daylight pours in. I'm awake during the day. Juliet might have escaped through the window, snagging and ripping every inch of her skin on her tumble down the brick wall to the hard concrete below, where she's bumbling about in the mud until somebody bashes her brains out. I scream and hurl myself out of my closet looking for her. I bang my heels and toes on the floor, rushing to find her. It wasn't until I have my entire half of my body out the window, searching the alley below, that I see her tied to the refrigerator. A fresh ribbon added to her leash. I burn my knees sliding and skidding to kneel beside her, checking her shoulders and back for new strains or dislocations, moving my fingers along her ribs. But she has no new lumps, bumps, or gaping holes. Kite the killer has wedged herself against the far corner of the kitchen, her feet pigeon-toeing, green skin and red painted nails contrasting with the cracked black and white tiles, waiting for me to look at her and remember the horror of what she has done. My large water pot is sitting on the stove, dry and holding a small handful of coffee beans, toasted into a deep, dark umber. They sit cooling above the open stove door. Inside of the stove is a small propane burner, tinier than mine, venting the last of its hot air into the kitchen. Next to the beans, on top of the leather backpack with silver buckles, is a small package of tattered plastic wrap. The ends are tied securely about a wad of more fresh coffee. I gurgle, moan, and reach for them. Kite leans forward and hands me a steaming mug. Her thin shirt shifts over her chest. She could fill out a bra, but she isn't wearing one. She guides me away from her fragile coffee-stained mortar and pestle and asks me, with her tentative fingertips, to sit by my chair by the open window. My mouth is bone-parched, and I become jealous of Juliet's well-hydrated, drool draining from her freshly refilled water bowl. I let my nervous muscles relax into my chair. I struggle to bring the mug to my sandy lips, spilling onto my legs as I drink until I can speak. I turn to Kite, but she speaks first. I made some coffee for you. I think you and I could really get along. It used to be your sister? She is my sister, and if you touch her, I will kill you. I wouldn't dream of it. She snatches my empty coffee cup. I sit and shake, still dehydrated, wondering if she is making a zombie joke about dreaming. She refills my mug, filtering the grounds through a scrap of perfectly shaped cheesecloth. She isn't wearing any pants, leaving her long black hair to dangle over the band of her underwear. Her red fingernails and toenails shine and click against all of the things that she touches. The faucet, the open spoon drawer, my steaming mug held up to her soft, wide lips as she blows across it. With a slight plop, she sits down next to me at the window in a rickety, paint-splattered chair that I've never seen before. I hope that she hasn't been up to the dangerous upper floors. She could get us all killed. She could kill all of us. I take a sip from my second cup of ground-free miracle coffee. When are you leaving? I ask her. Oh, we slept a long time, she says. A whole day and night. I guess we really needed some rest. When will you be leaving? I ask again. She slouches closer to me, draping her dimpled, graceful elbow against her knee. She reaches out with her gray and green palm and places it on my thigh. I shiver. She's warm. She's infected but breathing. She's immune. I can't kill her accidentally. I can't make her sick. She can touch me. We can speak. Well, she shapes her words slowly. I thought that perhaps we could go take care of your friend, and then maybe we could try to find a radio to listen to. She wasn't my pet. I know. I'm sorry. I said friend. You killed her. I lied to Kite about who had caused Swan's death. I knew it was me and my carelessness. There still could be a cure, even if Jim isn't a doctor. He lied to you. No, well, I never really asked if he was a scientist. I just gave him my blood. I assumed. I never asked if... Maybe he's not a liar. Très drôle. Il est un bête, je le sais. What? She repeated herself, but I still didn't understand. You don't speak French? She's aghast. You live this far north and you don't speak French. Everybody up here speaks French. What's French? Is that what a lot of my neighbors speak when I can't hear them? That calendar. She sits up. That sappy kitten calendar you were reading on the roof? It's in French. You can read French. I saw you. Oh, that. Jim is... Well, he was also teaching me how to read. Really nice boyfriend you have there, Ophelia. He lies about everything, compulsively. He's not my boyfriend. And what are you even talking about? How do you spell August? She quizzes me. A-O-U-T. That's French, Ophelia. He wasn't teaching you how to read, and he wasn't teaching you French. He was just bribing you with bad memorization lessons. You need to learn the letter sounds in languages from a real teacher. He was only some lame-ass guy who wanted to get in your pants and keep you coming back to give him blood that his bosses needed. I stutter. No, I'm sure he was just... I needed to learn how to read. I can't speak French. We were just trying to... He would die if he got in my pants. That's true. You're a funny one, Ophelia. That jerk doesn't deserve you. Let's go take care of your friend, and then we can get us a radio, and I can really teach you how to read the right way. Right in the middle of the living room, she strips off her t-shirt and underwear, showing me her ribs and her kinkiest hair. I lower my eyes while she rummages through her pack for clean, lacy clothes, and I think about Jim, who used my blood to make a zombie poison that would kill me. Again. It would take care of me. I had taken care of him. I had stolen from the clinic. Was he worse than me? Am I worse than him? She talks to me while she rubs lavender oil in her armpits and recolors her nail with a fumy marker, but I can't hear her. All I can hear is the static of not doctor, not friend, not family, a not-to-be-cured zombie that I've trained to get herself killed. All of my big and little sisters dead. When Kite's boots are strapped up her calves and she says she's ready to storm the castle, she follows me back to the clinic. And the rooftop. Swan is where we left her, her head flattened and separated from her body, roasting in the afternoon sun. Tears flood down my cheeks and drain out of my nose. Kite holds my hand. I let her. There's no risk. She rolled out the tarp that we carried and stands behind me as I cut Swan's body into sections, slowly, using my axe like a knife, careful not to make any jagged edges, only smooth, quiet slices. I hand the crisp, bloated pieces to Kite one by one. She takes them solemnly, perfectly silent. We pack the parts neatly and roll them up tight, lashing it securely closed. My fingers fumble with the strings. I check the knots thrice. Kite hums softly on her way back down the stairs with Swan in her arms. She helps me lift the package into an official burn collection dumpster on a street not filled with thugs and passers-by. And then she bows her head. She says that Swan was an excellent companion, that she was sorry not to have gotten the chance to know her, and then sings a prayer about the dead flying up to join the sun, which I hide from, still skittish in the light. She asks if I would like to say a few words. I shake my head no, slowly back and forth, back and forth. I shake my head from side to side as we step away from Swan. I'm still shaking my head when Kite pats me lightly on the pocket. I hadn't noticed that we arrived at my door. Oh, I look up. I'm home. We don't have to go in yet, Swan says. Kite says. We don't have to go in yet, Kite says. We could go get a radio. A radio? To listen to programs and shows while we're in our apartment. Our apartment? A radio? I don't know. She leads me by the hand, past the dinner-time sounds of families lighting their cooking fires and babies crying to be left in their cribs while parents stir the pots and their siblings play with the best toys, past the hammerings of end-of-the-day repairs, past the closed-up cash-making shops and the broken-down bicycle remnants left to rust. She points at objects and makes me repeat their French names. Too tired to resist being in the palm of her hand, I speak with very little regard for who can hear my gurgles. Watteau, 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 ficelle, ficelle, ficelle. Bagnole, bagnole, bagnole. Very good. She caresses my shoulder blades, her fingers massaging my slippery muscles. I bend my knees until her fingers are on my neck, with no t-shirt in between us. One of her tips tickles the small cut that Juliet has left beneath my ear. She smears a droplet of black blood sideways to help it dry faster. She doesn't wince or shrink away from my infection. She doesn't turn away and vomit in horror. She brushes the black smudge onto her jeans and points to a fire escape. This one looks good. She winds her silky onyx locks around her fingertips, drawing them into spirals and twisting them around each other until she has a long, loose snake winding down her back, secured by a bit of watteau. Silhouetted by the tallest high-rise in Turrington, the one with a bronze plaque on its foundation and a locking front door with human guards, she calls me to the ladder. We climb up, past the families with dogs, past the families with chicken coops, all the way up to the families with curtains and blinking electronic lights powered by whirring generators. They don't need to keep mini dinosaurs for food or flea-ridden dogs for protection, she says. They can just use their money to buy new stuff. They're the factory overseers, the rangers, the doctors, the gangsters. I shudder but can't unwind my fingers from hers. I hope that we won't rob a buyer or seller who recognizes me. Or maybe I do. Either my head would finally be smashed or the two of us could kill the asshole together. I hope we wouldn't rob a gas station gangster who's cooking dinner with a gun and a store of ammo in his bread box. But Kite says she can tell which windows belong to New Money because they have the newest curtains, woven in post-plague styles, and that they'll be off eating in restaurants. Restaurants are places where tables covered in cloth with cooks who make food for money, not for their families and friends, serve it. The New Money family that we rob while they're out spending their cash have a gigantic generator that's too heavy to carry, but we steal their radio and their batteries. The servant's bed in their pantry is empty. No bought wife is sleeping there, waiting to do their bidding and be underfed from their ample storage bins. Or maybe she's died recently, sent to the market and captured by a fat man with a leash, torn apart by a dead thing that I recently turned, or escaped to starve in the streets. There's no girl for me to save, for me to take care of. Kite cuts her wrist and smears merci on the wall above the sink, gives a kick to the food appliances that we can't use, and with an armful of speakers, leaps out the window. With one last glance at their full shelves and a caress of their plush hand towels, I do the same. I marvel quietly over their expensive belongings as I slink through the falling evening shadows. Kite loudly boasts that we need no human bullshit jobs and no money when we can steal everything we want. We stride down the street, cords trailing behind her boots, proud of her loot and uncaring if any of our neighbors see her. She doesn't know yet that there are humans looking for me. I don't stop to invite her in or ask her again if she would leave. I want her radio. I want her French lessons. I want her to keep talking. I want her bare skin. I don't want to be alone, and she doesn't hesitate. I show her where I hide the key to my door and watch as she twists the speaker cords into the radio's body. She balances them on the windowsill, illuminated by the disappearing purple sun. She smacks her lips as she clinks the batteries into place and shows me her perfectly straight, golden teeth as the first notes of gleeful dance tune jolt out of the speakers. "What's a booty?" I ask, smiling to be just like our neighbors. We're like everyone else. We can have tea at nightfall, enjoy our temporary peace, and take care of our small charge. We're like a family. "It's what I'm shaking," she says, but I can't tell which part she means. "I'll make the tea," I offer, a hot tide spreading from my knees to my cheeks. "Nah, I need something stronger." Kite heads for her mortar and pestle. "I guess coffee will have to do. No alcohol in your cabinets, I noticed." "There's some rubbing alcohol in the bathroom," I say. Kite giggles without looking up from her coffee grinding. Juliet is still tied to the fridge where we left her. She reaches out and grabs Kite's ankle, bringing the soft turquoise leg warmer to her mouth with a rip. "Ugh, filthy beast!" Kite screeches, spins around, and buries her foot squarely into Juliet's stomach. "No!" I leap to Juliet's defense, wrapping my arms around my sister. "Right. Sorry. I forgot. You're going to keep her." She brushed a stray hair off of Juliet's forehead. "But you keep those nasty little teeth off of me, you little scamp." She winks at Juliet and ties the leash tighter to the fridge. I slump against the cabinets and let Juliet chase my laces. "Kite," I ask, "where is your family? You never kept any around after they turned? Because, it is safe for us to keep them. They can't hurt us." "I have no family," she says. "I'm sorry, they all died?" "I didn't say that. I said I have no family." She folds her cheesecloth into a filter, avoids my eyes, hurt by the same beasts who had destroyed the families of every human. I understand. I want her to know that I understand, that my family failed me too, that I miss all of them, that I wish that I had had more left than a few sewing and engineering lessons and a plastic barrette. I want to tell Kite and Juliet was all to hold on to from my old life. If we find a real cure, we could both return to our pasts without all of this horror, I want to say. "It's okay if you want to talk about your family," I assure her. "If we can find a doctor with a real cure..." "There is no cure, and I have no family," she shouts. She drops the mug that she's been holding, blinking furiously, and snaps that she's lucky she has no mascara on, and then she hunches to pick up the ceramic shards. I'm glad she hasn't broken one of my good cups or a water bowl. I try to help her, but she slaps at my hands and glares at Juliet as she snatches the sharp bits out of reach. She throws them into the sink with a clatter, smashing them into smaller bits. She stomps to her chair by the window. Juliet grapples to reach her while she composes herself. Breathing deeply and rattling, Kite pats the chair next to her. "Come on, Ophelia. Let's practice your French." I scoot my chair away from hers, but she pulls me in closer so that she can hold my hand while she gives me new words. Ma'ami, 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 I repeat. So there is Kite's chapter. We're getting to know